Okay, so I accidentally ordered a bunch of these macaroon containers, but they'll make perfect molds for testing out some cold casting. So what I'm going to do here is just mix up a little bit of brass powder, and now that I have a measurable microwave sintering element, which can achieve the temperatures that this needs, I'm going to give that a shot. So just a bit of binder was added here with a little bit of water, and now we have a solution here which we're going to pour into the mold and actually just freeze that. Okay, just like that. So we have filled that up. That's still very liquidy. Um, and, and we're going to freeze that. Interesting. So after last night's tests with the new heating element here, we have the steel pieces, the bottle caps, which I did put in there to try to get a sense of temperature reading. And, well, one of those seems to have gotten a little bit bigger than the rest. And that was the one that was directly positioned underneath the element. So it looks almost as if it melted, which if it could melt steel, that's quite impressive. Approximately 2.5 inches from the bottom is a buffer of ballast, which I will be resting the part on top of so that we don't burn through the bottom. Okay, we have our piece, which is just a basic mold. Let's see if we can get it out. I should have used mold release here, but I did not. So thankfully these are just some disposable plastic trays, and there we go. Okay, that was more trouble than it was worth. So this part's ruined here, but we still have, 5 molds left. We just snip this off with some scissors, and these are still fine to go. So the mold produced this piece with some detail, some cross stitching, which I wanted to preserve, and the bottom here is just flat, nothing crazy about that. I can't handle it too much because this is a frozen piece, so what I'm going to be doing is putting this directly face down, because this is the detail, into the ballast, and we'll make sure that we press this around, shake it so that it's preserving the details if we can, and we'll go for sintering. I have the element sitting on top here. There is, I don't know if you can see this, but there is a layer of carbon which I'm putting in right above the part, below the element, so that we can scavenge any kind of oxygen during this sinter process. I'm going to be placing a lid on top to seal this up. There's a slight, it's not airtight, so there's going to be some gases that are going to be off-gassed off of the sinter process, which I'll make sure to be using proper ventilation for. And hopefully this should get ramped up pretty quickly. We're going to shoot for about 1650 degrees or so Fahrenheit for brass. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Well, that one didn't quite work the way that I wanted to, so I ended up making another element here. I've just used a little marker here so that I know that this is a different style element. But this one's going to have a good bit more silicon carbide into this element, and it's bigger, so it should retain the heat. The other one that I had seemed to have burned through and was creating a hot spot, which I don't think was working out too well for what I was trying to go for. And so that's why I went with a thicker alumina refractory base, so that it could surround the element a good bit better. Now, so I'm going to take this out, and what I'm going to do is benchmark this. I won't, I'll spare you some of that details, and benchmark it so that I know what the settings are for the microwave, and I'm going to give this experiment another shot. This is a pretty big one here. There's a little bit of surface cracking, but that's all right. This has double the content of the previous element, which was able to achieve 1600 degrees Fahrenheit in about 30 to 50 minutes or so. So we're going to go ahead and give this one a test to see if we can continue this experiment. Oh yeah, this also happened. Unfortunately, temperature changes didn't do so well for this glass here. So it's always important to make sure that we cool this down sufficiently before starting the next cycle, which I apparently did not do. This is where I was going to show you some pretty cool footage of me pulling out the element at very high temps, and I even talked to the camera and everything. However, I did not press the record button, so it's just me talking right now. What I can say though is this did achieve what I was hoping for, at least within the first 40 minutes. I was able to achieve around 1800 to 1900 degrees at surface level temperatures. It's hard to say for sure because I realized I had messed up the camera and was a little flustered, but there was a very distinct blue flame, and at that point I had run out of fuel, so I couldn't go any further. Instead of continuing this video, I'd like to just go ahead and cut clean for the next one. This element seems to be the best centering one that I've done so far. So I'd like to go ahead and set up some experiments just with the centering portion, and that should come next. Aluminum and potentially steel. Also, if you stuck with me this far, I do apologize for the disjointed video because, I never know exactly how these experiments are going to end up. And they always span at least a couple of days, but generally more like a week or two, which is a long time to commit to something like this. So I do appreciate you watching and commenting and really just giving some feedback on progress that I've been able to achieve so far. Anyways, cheers and catch you next time.